I wasn't trying to win anything. Shoved me. I slipped. My fist landed out of habit. He fell wrong. Arms flailing, pride louder than the thud. Every eye stuck to me like gum. Two of his guys froze, waiting for orders that didn't come. The tower guard pretended to adjust binoculars. He said he slipped, but lies don't matter after a sound like that. They walked him to medical while the crowd hovered around me. Hands touched my shoulders. Not friendly, just measuring. A guard drifted over and said, "Keep it cool," like I had a thermostat. Chow tasted different that night. Not better, just watched. A kid slid me his cornbread without looking up. Kept saying accident, but the room heard promotion. My cellie said, "You broke the market." He meant bets, influence, quiet. You moved the odds with one punch. I told him it wasn't a punch, more like panic. He said panic spends the same. The block's noise changed key. Laughter cut sharper, whispers tracked me. Doors opened a touch faster when I walked by. Power felt like bad lighting, too bright, wrong color. Shows every crack. Two of his crew fetched me to showers. Steam was gone. Smell stayed. He sat on the bench, bandage above his eye, posture like a throne. "You trying to make a name?" he asked. "No," I said. "I'm trying to keep the one I got." He chuckled once, then winced. "You hit clean," he said. "You could have finished it." I said, "I didn't want this." "Doesn't matter," he replied. He pointed at the phones, chow seats, workout spots. "Run the regulars. Keep it fair. Don't embarrass me." It sounded like a gift until I felt the weight. I nodded because breathing needed permission. The yard made space for me like I was contagious. People nodded, not friendly, not hostile, calculating. I missed invisibility more than my old clothes. Innocence doesn't last past the first rumor. Guards started asking favors without using the word. "Phone's peaceful, right?" "Keep chow line smooth." Their smiles said partnership. Their eyes said paperwork. Damn it, I became a memo. The first dispute was over 3 minutes on a phone. Two guys squared up, crowd humming. Both glanced at me like I held a whistle. "Split it," I said. They grumbled, obeyed, lived.
Oh.
Next was a seat and chow. A lifer and a hothead. I swapped their trays, blamed the kitchen. Everyone ate. Ate. A small piece feels like stealing extra oxygen. Tribute appeared without speeches. Coffee packs, soups. A honey bun slid into my pocket like a vote. Refusing would have been rude and dangerous. Accepting felt like cuffing myself. I gave most to my cellie and the weak ones nearby. People watched who I fed and took notes I couldn't see. Generosity buys the quiet kind of enemies. Rumors built a legend I didn't recognize. Used to fight MMA? Knocked 2 dudes before breakfast. Truth wears shoes here? Lies grow wings? I stopped correcting. It only enlarged the costume. The old boss returned from medical, smiling like nothing mattered. He clapped my shoulder and chow. "Here, don't waste it," he said, and the room heard a coronation. Oh my God, a curse disguised as blessing. Sleep slid away. I heard footsteps as verdicts, keys as threats. My cellie said, "You got what everyone wants. Now try living with it." I counted cracks on the ceiling like exits that wouldn't open. A kid with a bruised cheek asked for help. "Debt over to honey buns," he said. "They told me you handle it. They not we." I held a problem I didn't order. I found the collector and asked terms. He grinned. "Your word," said it, hating how it tasted. The kid smiled next day. I'd signed the first contract of a business I despised. The commissary line turned ceremonial. People placed offerings like small prayers. "Respect," they muttered. "Respect here is a receipt with no prices listed. Due date always soon." The guard tossed me a candy bar at chow for keeping things civil. Left it untouched. Sugar can be a leash. He shrugged, already calculating what I'd owe next. Other groups approached politely. Balance is peace. Peace costs. We traded smiles, not promises. Every sentence had a hidden hook. I walked away intact, but hooked anyway. Guys started asking where to sit, who gets the corner bench, who gets first shower. My head became a map of petty borders. Small decisions felt like surgery without gloves. Built rules that sounded fair. First come, first served. No skipping, no hogging. People liked fairness, until fairness wasn't about them. That's when boss becomes a complaint line. 2 enforcers brought a hothead to me. He'd stolen coffee. He denied, then admitted, then cried. I told him to work it off 2 weeks' laundry. No interest. Mercy keeps books too. Some wanted me cruel to prove I belonged. I refused. Cruelty grows fast in good soil. I'd already planted enough with one accidental swing. The old boss watched from across the yard, content. I understood his gift. Responsibility without control. He handed me the lightning. He kept the shelter. Quiet lasted 3 days. Then a rumor. I planned a riot. Another rumor. I worked with guards. In prison, proof is optional. Heat is guaranteed. A guard searched my cell, loud and theatrical. He found nothing, left my blanket on the floor. Keep your boys calm, he said. I had boys now. News to me. My cellie said, You're a bridge. I asked, between what? Between stupidity and violence? Bridges don't get credit. They get walked on until they crack. A new fish bumped me in chow, testing. His friends watched. I breathed, counted to 5, moved aside. Winning now meant not needing witnesses. That night, someone slipped a razor blade under my door, taped to a note. For later, I flushed both. Tools come with strings. I was already tangled. 2 groups wanted the workout corner at the same hour. I staggered times, wrote it on scrap cardboard, stuck it with toothpaste. People obeyed cardboard better than voices. Phones went quiet for a week. It felt like magic. Then a call ran over time, and magic died. I swapped receivers, set a timer in my head, wore out the seconds. A man thanked me for saving his spot. Another cursed me for saving it for someone else. Being right felt like losing popularity with interest. A guard said, You make my job easy. Another said, You make me nervous. Both were true. Both were dangerous. A hustler offered me a cut from his tobacco line, just protection tax. I said no. He grinned. You're already protecting it, he replied, and walked away richer. Learn to speak with eyebrows, shoulders, silence. Words agitate, glances move people. Its power is efficient when it's boring. The old boss's second challenged me in the yard with a stare that wouldn't blink. I met it, then looked away first. Not weakness, permission for him to keep existing. A weak man can wreck a week. He accused someone of stealing a soup he'd eaten. I replaced it from my stash. Everyone relaxed. Cheap peace is still peace. A lifer taught me the 3 chairs rule. 1 for leaders, 1 for problems, 1 empty for luck. Never sit in luck's chair. I left it open and watched luck ignore us. I kept a ledger in my head. Favors granted, apologies owed, names to remember, lines not to cross. No paper, no evidence, just wait. Nights, I whispered apologies to people I would never meet again. The ceiling listened better than confessionals. Forgiveness doesn't transfer in here. A lockdown hit after a stabbing I didn't cause and couldn't prevent. Doors slammed, lights hummed, air shrank. From my bunk, leadership felt imaginary and heavy. During lockdown, the tear talked through vents, plans, regrets, recipes. A man sang softly. For an hour, nobody asked me for anything. Silence finally meant rest, not threat. When we popped out, tension snapped like a rubber band. 2 crews wanted first yard. I flipped a coin. Heads won. Tails accepted. Coins solve problems better than philosophy. A kid brought me a drawing. Me as a king with a cardboard crown. I laughed, then didn't. Crowns are just collars that learned marketing. Food shipments got light and tempers got heavy. I split the shortage evenly. Fairness hurts the loudest people first. They stayed loud. I stayed upright. A preacher offered prayer for my soul. I asked for a prayer for patience. He said patience is already a prayer. I hoped that was true. The old boss left me a seat in shade one afternoon. I didn't take it. He smirked like a chess player with time. I stood and burned. A guy asked me how to become a leader. Trip the king, I said. He laughed until he saw I wasn't joking. Accidents are the most honest promotions. A woman on the phone cried to a man near me. He started yelling. I touched his elbow. Walk, I said. Walked. Sometimes saving someone is just redirecting feet. I started returning tributes one by one. Keep it, I said. Some smiled, some frowned. Control isn't about holding. It's about letting go without leaving. Someone scrawled boss on my door with toothpaste. I wiped it clean with my sleeve. Labels spread faster than stains. A guard offered me a favor off the books. I said no, twice. He didn't like the answer. He liked that I'd survive it. The chow hall lines braided themselves without me speaking. Habit is the strongest guard. I watched and pretended I planned it. When I returned, the old boss nodded once, a quiet endorsement. I nodded back. Respect is just permission not to escalate. 2 men demanded the same bunk after a transfer. I made them flip for top or bottom. Winner took bottom. Prison logic is upside down and still works. A rumor said I carried a blade. Another said I carried a Bible. I carried aspirin and a list in my head. My hands stayed empty on purpose. A restless guard tried to provoke me with a shakedown and questions. I answered with yes, no, okay. He got bored and left. Boredom can be armor. My mother wrote, asking if I was safe. I wrote back that I was busy. Safety here is just a schedule that hasn't failed yet. A man I'd helped months ago passed me in yard and whispered, "Oh, you won." I hoped he never had to pay. Deaths attract storms. The kitchen shorted meat again. Fights simmered. I asked the cook for extra beans for the loudest mouths. He shrugged and scooped. Hunger quieted faster than threats. A kid asked me how to stop shaking. Said breathe, count tiles, keep your back near corners. He did. He stopped shaking. Small wins keep walls from talking. Someone carved a crown on the bench where I sit. I sanded it off with a plastic spoon until it vanished. I prefer benches without prophecies. The old boss approached, hands empty. "You're doing fine," he said. I answered, "I'm doing time." He laughed, appreciated the rhyme, walked away freer than me. A challenge finally came. A tall man with something to prove. We squared 2 circle rules. No faces, no weapons, stop when I say. He nodded, fists trembling. I kept my hands open. We clinched, shuffled, broke. I found his eyes and said, "You don't need this." He looked past me at an audience that needed it. He swung short, missed, exhaled, quit. The crowd booed. I shrugged. Entertainment isn't leadership. Results are. We walked away with faces intact. That's winning in a place built for losing. Commissary clerk tried taxing a weak guy twice. I leaned on the table with my palms. Once I said, twice didn't happen. Paperwork remembered. A letter from my brother said, "Be careful what you become." I folded it small and kept it under my mattress, becoming as slippery when everyone else is pushing. A storm knocked power for an evening. Candles flickered, voices went soft. Without the hum, I heard men breathing like the whole place was trying to stay alive together. Power returned. Noise came back meaner. Normal always returns with interest. I missed the quiet I had complained about. A man offered to stab someone if I wanted respect. I told him I wanted him to do nothing for a week. He said that was harder. I said that was the point. The old boss's birthday came. His crew shared cakes made from crushed cookies, frosting from instant coffee and sugar. They offered me a slice. I ate it and swallowed the politics with the crumbs. A counselor asked if I'd consider a peer mentor role. I smiled and said I already had one without the title. She didn't laugh. Paper loves titles. A sergeant pulled me aside. "Crack down, you lose your little kingdom." I said, "Crack down smart." He stared, then smirked. "You sound like a warden." I felt like a janitor. Transfers changed the ecosystem. New faces, old tensions. I repeated rules, drew lines again. Building order is sweeping sand off concrete. A man I refused earlier came back calmer. "You were right," he said. I wished I remembered what I'd said. Leadership is often credit for accidents. I stopped taking tribute entirely. People kept leaving it anyway. I redirected to the hungry and the old. Redistribution felt like cheating a game I didn't invent. Young guard asked, "Why do they listen to you?" I said, "Because I listened first." He wrote that down like a secret. There aren't many secrets here. A fight broke out during count. I didn't move. Guards swarmed. Paperwork exploded. Later, a lieutenant said, "Good choice." Sometimes the best decision is staying furniture. My cellie paroled. He left me his extra towel and a look that said, "Don't die, stupid." The bunk felt bigger and louder without him. A new cellie arrived, skittish eyes. I taught him corners, phones, lines. He slept that night. Teaching might be the only harmless power here. The old boss got moved to another unit. He waved once from the chain line, face unreadable. I felt lighter for 1 hour, then heavy again. Weight doesn't evaporate. It migrates. The block ran smoother than it used to. Phones rotated, chow lines held, fights cooled quicker. I wasn't proud. I was tired. Tired is stable. People still call me boss. I don't correct them. A crown here is just a handle everyone grabs when the place shakes. I didn't beat a king. I became the thing they hold.